Hi, everybody. You can see here, this is the template for the annotated bibliography. And the first thing that you will see is that there are comments running down the side, quite a few of them. And my hope, my desire, one of the requirements is that when you use your template, that you will look at what the comments are and then delete them as you go. So don't just delete them, but actually read them and then delete them. What you'll see in the comments is that I'm talking through features of the template. Most of the comments are from me. Weirdly, I am here as several different icons and even more than one name. Sometimes I show up in the comments as Dr. V. You'll also see the name Matthew Umflett. He worked with me one semester and he designed the template, and we worked on it together for quite a while to make this for students. So, one of the first things I want to tell you about the template is that you will probably benefit from saving a copy of it that's exactly the way it is right here before you even use it for this class. And the reason is when you're writing a paper using APA in other classes, you can reuse the template. I've had a lot of students tell me over the years that they did that and that it was extremely helpful for them. So I'm hoping you'll open it up and then first go through the comments because those teach you what is in the document. Leave comments you think you'll need, like don't delete them if you think you're going to need them when you're putting your work in the template, and then get rid of the comments later on. When you go through this, you'll see that there's instructions embedded. Like the first comment is that you'll put your title here of your paper. You need to make up a title for it and then actually leave the words annotated bibliography and rationale. That's a common practice in naming papers. You'll put your name here for the author, my name for the instructor, and then the due date isn't for a couple weeks. You could leave that blank for right now. When you keep moving through the template, you'll see that the title gets repeated. And then there's a paragraph here that is explaining what the headings are and that sort of thing. For right now, at the beginning of using the template, you'll just write a few sentences about your topic. So the context is in here. And then later on in the process, you'll be able to reuse some of what you have here at the top in the rationale section of the paper. When you move down through the work you see here in the template, it begins with the first article, the scholarly article. This would be the first item that you have in the first journal you completed with the rough drafts of your annotations. So you will have a scholarly article in there, and you'll go take the work from your journal and copy and paste it. So what you're going to do, you'll go grab your citation. Now, a lot of people need to make corrections on the citations, and that's all in the feedback in the journals. So the thing that makes the most sense is to make the corrections as you're plugging the work into the document from your journals. And then you'll delete what's in the template as you go through. So you'll go grab the citation for your first scholarly article, copy and paste it over here, correct it, and then delete the one that I had. You're also going to use the headings in this document like summary. So here's where you're going to go lift the summary part from the journal and then put it here. Depending on the feedback you have in your journal, you might need to expand this part. My recommendation for expanding on it is to take things that are in note form in your journals and write them out all the way in sentences. Maybe expand on some of the examples that you have. Hopefully, you don't have to go backwards actually to the source, but that's highly variable depending on how much material was in the original journal. The next section is the relevance or the evaluation. Relevance and evaluation, that's the same thing. And then your journals, again, were structured to have the same sections. So the key factor is you're not just copying and pasting over from the journals, but you're copying and pasting over from the journals, making corrections and adjusting content as necessary. One of the easiest ways, if you are short on content, is to use a quote from the reading. And when you use a quote from whichever source, that's what I meant by the reading, like whichever source you're on, you're going to make sure you're following through with the lessons of how to work quotations into your document. And you'll see little examples along the way in the template, like right here. And then there are other examples that are in the lesson on working the quotes in that are part of the work for this week. You'll see if you keep scrolling through the template that the second source is the Oxford English Dictionary source here. The same will apply where you first go grab the citation and put it here. It looks like this one needs to have a hanging indent. Now, it may not work properly because sometimes the web address can make this messed up, but I'm just going to see if I go to the format, if I can make a hanging indent in my video to show you how it works. So if I go to sorry about this. I haven't done it in a couple of weeks, but I've actually done it quite a few times. It's under, should be under paragraph. Okay, forgive that pause in the video, but that just shows again the reality of doing this kind of work is that there's a lot of technical stuff, and I have the need for more coffee right now, obviously, because normally I just do this very quickly. Not today. So you go to format and then you go to align and indent. Hanging indent is what you're making. So I don't know why that was so hard for my brain today, but there it is. Align and indent, and then you go to the bottom where it says indentation options and you click on that. And then you make a special indent, and hanging is one of the choices that you have there. So you click on hanging and then you hit apply. Oh, it did actually work with the web address. Good. All right. I wanted to make sure I demoed that in the video. So that was a good thing. That is how it's done. There are other ways where you can use the little slider up here, but the embedded tool that I just struggled through is actually by far the fastest and easiest way. You see next that you have the summary and relevance, and that's here in the document as well, sectioned off, where you'll go grab parts of your journal and move it over. Annotation 3, if you didn't get yours from the ODU database, you can change this and just put peer-reviewed scholarly article. And you can see here that it has the same sections with the summary and the relevance, and then the scholarly, non-scholarly source is your last one here. And then at the very bottom, you have the rationale. So the rationale is an overview of your sources and how they connect to each other. So this is the new writing that you're doing for your first draft of this that you're turning in. And you've got the template here that shows you how to structure your rationale. And it's mostly pulling together how your different four sources relate to each other and copying and pasting some of the parts of your sources into this actual part. So that's the part of writing this that's low stress, is that you can weave in bits and pieces from your annotations. That's actually getting to the whole purpose of an annotated bibliography in the first place, which is that an annotated bibliography is a collection of research and reactions to research that later on result in research papers. In this course, we're doing the research and the planning stages, including the rationale, but not actually writing the whole thing out. But if you want to know what the purpose of a rationale is, if I were teaching this as like a 200 level course, you would turn in your annotated bibliographies, get feedback, and then you'd go and write a paper that you propose or explain in your rationale. So think of the rationale like a place where you are telling me what your paper would be. That's the concept of what it is. If you keep going in the document, there's more to delete at the bottom. But I've got here an instruction on putting comments in here. These comments are incredibly important to me as your instructor. It helps me give individualized feedback to all of my students. It helps me see the parts that you're doing well on and the parts that you might be struggling with. And then you see at the bottom, I actually embedded some lessons here on formatting sentences and quoting. And I want to make sure that you read through that before you delete it. So that goes along with the other advice that I had earlier here that you're going to delete along the way. But I thought a lot of you might benefit from actually seeing examples of the in-text citation and formatting inside the document. So I have this lesson other places, and then it's here as well. Thanks for watching.